Hey you guys, shout out to The Plug. The Plug sent me some information regarding a video that they wanted me to do about Reggie Bush. He was promoting this GoFundMe for Lauren London and her children and the children of Nipsey Hussle, but he did not get the blessing of the family, nor did they ask him to. In this video, I'll be pointing out some hypocrisy going on with Reggie Bush promoting this GoFundMe. So if you guys want to know the insight on what's going on, please stay tuned for the rest of this video. This video is sponsored by CarMarshal. They have over 100,000 cars in their inventory. While you shop, they will negotiate for you. I'll provide the link for you to go click and search for your new vehicle today. Kickin.com. Whether you need incense, personal hygiene products, candles, car fresheners, Kickin is your go-to. Please visit Kickin.com. Use Paris Milan at checkout to receive 15% off. This video is also sponsored by Soulfully Scented LV. They are a Black-owned hair care line that has very affordable products that are also very potent. Please go to soulfullyscentedlv.com. Reggie Bush is an ex-NFL player, but his personal life was heavily publicized when he got into a high-profile relationship with Kim Kardashian. And now he is currently married, and he's been married to his wife Lilith, I hope that's how you pronounce her name, for 5 years, and they have 3 children. A couple of weeks back, Nipsey Hussle did pass away, and since then there have been a lot of reports going on that Jay-Z and other people were starting trust funds for the children of Nipsey Hussle, but Jay-Z's team spoke out and said that that was false. And Reggie Bush is actually entangled in that right now because he made a post on Twitter where he said, "Please join us in reaching our goal of 100K. This money goes directly to a trust fund set up by Lauren London that directly benefits Nipsey Hussle's 2 kids, Imani and Cross," and then he gives information to donate. So then there was this video that also came out that I want to play for you guys really fast.
I want to tell you guys about an amazing initiative that we've been able to put together in honor of the late great Nipsey Hussle. In partnership with GoFundMe and with the help of our marketing team over at Seeya, we have been empowered by Lauren London, Nipsey's girlfriend, to put together a GoFundMe account that directly benefits Nipsey's 2 kids, Imani and Cross.
We feel so blessed that we got to live at the same time as a spirit such as Nipsey's. You know, God got to work through a man who found his purpose on this earth, touched so many lives, and hearing his mom speak about his beautiful spirit moving to an eternity where he's going to have no boundaries, no limits. He'll be able to be amongst each one of us. It was encouraging and beautiful.
Yeah. So please join us in making a donation.
So Karen Civil spoke out about this, and she told him, "Please remove this tweet as this was privately asked of you already. The family nor Lauren requested this and you did it anyway." This comes after it was reported that he donated $10,000 to the family, and this is really odd that he donated that money, but then he puts out this tweet where he's asking people to donate $100,000 to a fund when Karen Civil said that he was already warned, like, hey, you need to remove this. Was it some sort of finesse scheme that was going on? Did he legitimately not know? I would hope that he would not tarnish his celebrity status in order to finesse people out of money, because if that's what he was doing and thinking that he wasn't going to get caught, and you're doing it at the expense of someone else's death, like, to me that's completely trash. But another thing that I want to touch on is this hypocrisy that goes on in the Black community, where some men like to speak out about absentee fathers and the role that it plays in the destruction of the Black community, yet they will engage in it themselves. So in 2016 there was some information that leaked that stated that Reggie Bush fathered a child outside of his marriage, allegedly. So according to Gossip, they stated that this woman named Monique Exposito was initially trying to get pregnant by the retired Miami Heat player Alonzo Mourning, but she was having fertility treatments done, but it just didn't work. So she went ahead and found someone else to look up with, and she looked up with Reggie Bush, and some source that was close to her said that this was something that she typically did with Black men who were professional athletes in order to get money. He ended up getting her pregnant, and once she got pregnant, he did not want to keep the baby, obviously, because he was married. So the report goes on to say that he gave her $3 million in exchange for her to get an abortion. Well, she didn't get that abortion, okay? She figured that I'm going to get the money and I'm also going to get that child support money. So she ends up having the baby in 2017, and ever since then she has been making posts where she said that she's the main one taking care of their son. There's also been reports that he's not paying any child support towards the son because he felt as though she was given that $3 million, that should have been it, because it's like, I told you to give get rid of the child. Therefore, he feels like he should not have to take financial responsibility for a child that he literally paid to get terminated. And the irony of it all is that she is allegedly married herself, so that throws in a wrench as well, that this man that you're married to should assume paternal responsibility and not the biological father. But, you know, I'm not a lawyer, so maybe the courts will need to work this one out. I feel like this makes for a good argument. I wonder what you guys feel in the comment section. Do you feel as if somebody gave you money to get an abortion and you don't, that they should still have to pay child support? Personally, how I feel is that he probably should have took her to court for that. I've heard of women doing this before. A lot of them do this scam with the whole Plan B. They'll tell these men, you know, the Plan B costs $200, even though you can go down to a clinic and get it for free. And these men go and give them their money and they never go and use the Plan B. Or some of them are not even pregnant to begin with. So it's a common scam that I see, and even with the abortion thing. But also, now that the child is here, it's like I still feel as though you are obligated to take care of it, even though you did initially give her the money for it. The child looks exactly like the other children to me. Those genes must be very strong, because even though they're half siblings, you could just see the resemblance in the kids and the baby that was born out of wedlock. But one thing that I find is hypocritical, that he made this post about why the Black community has so much violence going on because fathers are not present, yet he turns around and engages in the same very thing. And I understand that the baby was born out of wedlock, but not participating is not participating. Whatever the case is, if you're talking about what other people aren't doing, you should be practicing what you preach. So here's what he's had to say in the past. He said, "This the love I never got from my real dad growing up, and I always wondered why. But instead of crying about it, I suppressed it, thinking it would go away. It didn't. Football taught me to never show weakness, to always tough it out, to kill those emotions, such as crying, because that's what it meant to be a man, or so I thought. The effects were rough, and it left off a lot of anger and resentment in my heart, and it almost killed me. I never really learned from a man how to face my fears head on and overcome them. I never really learned how to be a man from a man. Much of who I am today, I learned through football and the men I watched in it. The issue with that is those men were just as broken as me, so I picked up a lot of bad habits and I lost a lot of my character within the sport. As I got older, I realized my dad never had his dad in his life. In fact, my dad just met his dad for the first time about 5 years ago. My dad is 53 years old. Wouldn't you know, my grandfather has lived in LA this whole time. They met once and my grandfather kept it moving. My dad is born and raised in South Central LA and went to Crenshaw High School. So LA has always been a big part of my life growing up. Me and that 405 freeway have a deep-rooted history. So this message is to my biological grandfather, who I've never met and still alive. Your absence as a father has lingered through generations, but I'll make sure that cycle stops with me. All my kids will have a beautiful relationship with me, and none of them will experience the same pain my dad had that was in turn passed down to me. And to my props, I love you with all my heart, and I'm glad we have this time to make up for lost time. The problem in America right now is that this story is very common for a lot of young #Black boys. I'm just one of millions. I hope this message helps some kids out there. You don't have to allow your upbringing to hold you back." This would be fine and dandy if he was not doing the same thing. Again, I understand that that's kind of the consequences of being a side chick, is that you're not going to have that 24-hour paternal presence for the sake of your child because of the raggedy decisions that you chose to make. And I already know some of you guys are going to say, well, you don't have to be a side chick for them to not participate. Whether you're a side chick or whether you're in a relationship with a man that's not committed to you, there's a likelihood that the man is not going to be fully present, and that's a choice that you chose to make. After he made that post, she decided to respond. She said, "Your upbringing is all my bringing, papi lindo, all mommy." Child, I think she's speaking Spanish. Basically, I think she's saying that she had to raise him by herself. Again, it is very hypocritical to me to hear Reggie talk about this. I'm sure y'all gonna be like, well, I thought you didn't like biracials. First of all, I never said I have any problem with mixed people. You guys interpret it that way. But I don't care if a child is half Black or mixed or biracial, whatever the freak the kid is. If you have them, you need to take care of them. It looks crazy to me that you're so intent on donating this money to Nipsey Hussle's kids, and I'm sure a lot of people would like to help pitch in. And I'm not saying it's wrong for people to want to help pitch in, but it is wrong for you to try to chastise other people and say, well, this is what Black men are doing in the community, not raising their kids, yet you turn around and do the same very thing. How can you be so insisting on making this long drawn out post about what it felt like and suppressing emotions, and then you're going to bring a human being in this world that you never wanted per your own actions, and now that he's here, it's like you want nothing to do with him, but you want to be father of the year, and you want to be this philanthropist that's creating all these GoFundMes and trying to start trust funds for other people's kids when you weren't doing the same thing for this one that's your own. And I think it's also trifling that he was willing to do this under the guise of working with the family and reaching out to like Lauren London, knowing dang well that they told him like, hey, you need to take this down. And if this in fact was some sort of scam, I'm sure people are going to drag him because there's so many other ways for you to make money. A lesson to the side chicks out here, if you're Black or whatever, this is what can happen to you and your children. It doesn't matter if you're with a star athlete or whatever. If you want to have a life filled with loneliness and your kid always feeling inadequate and your kid not feeling emotionally complete, that's what you're setting them up for. And if a man ever gave you an ample amount of money to get an abortion and you don't, you choose to finesse him, you should probably have to be forced to pay that money money back because you did not go and use the money for what it was intended for. But I also feel like a father should participate whether you wanted the kid or not, because even as he stated, he knows the effects of it, so I don't know why he would inflict that upon a child. But I also think it's funny in these relationship dynamics where these men date outside their race constantly, how they'll use the excuse of black women being X, Y, and Z, they're raggedy, they're this, they're that, yet they'll still go off to other races and engage in the same behaviors that they do with us. They'll go out and have kids all over the place, being an absentee father, and I'm referring to the men that are habitual swirlers and the ones that are low-key colorists, and they go off into these interracial relationships and they engage in the same trash behavior, doing the same shenanigans and antics, yet they still want to blame black women for it. And it's like, you can't blame us for this, you're not dating us, so therefore that would denote that it's not a problem with us, but it's a problem with you individually. Some people, now this is not me, this is from what my research said, that he's a colorist, and there's been some times in the past where people felt as though he was fetishizing one of his children. There's a child that he had and his wife posted a picture and he said, you know, this is my Armenian baby, and a lot of people drug him for that. But if he wants to call the baby Armenian or whatever, that's his choice. My biggest issue is the hypocrisy. Yes, absentee black fathers in the community is horrific. It causes so much economic destruction. It causes massive emotional catastrophes. But the main people that actually are the absentee fathers need to stop trying to pat themselves on the back as if they're doing so much and they're father of the year when they know that they have kids out here that they have not assumed responsibility for. Anyways, you guys, let me know what you feel about this situation. Don't you feel it's like massively disrespectful that he set up this GoFundMe? Do you feel like he was trying to pocket the money? Also, let me know how you feel about him trying to set up this trust fund when there's a kid out here that he does not pay child support for, allegedly, according to these reports. Please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I'll talk to you guys in my next video. Bye!